Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy. Right now, it's just after 9 a.m. If you're watching on social media, let me know where you're watching from, what you got going on today, and then how we can help you have a better day. But the first step to having a better day is getting you introduced to my guest. I have a guest in studio. I'm going to let her introduce herself and then share the organization that she's with and the exciting adventure that's starting.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on, Gardy. My name's Emily Krone. I am the owner and manager of Emily T. Krone Company, PLLC. It's a new law firm in northern Galveston County. We're actually located out of League City. And my practice focuses primarily on commercial real estate, lending matters, business, law. We do contract review for our clients. And it's been a really fun start so far. We just opened up officially on October 1st. And we have our grand opening coming up. So, yeah, it's been a fun month and a half. Been an adventure for sure. And I'm just kind of looking forward to the future and seeing what we can do to help out.
Yeah, this year, 2020 has been an adventure.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody would agree with that. Luckily, I just feel like with starting this new firm and this new adventure in my life, it's actually put a really positive spin on the year for me. And so I'm grateful that I decided to kind of take that step this year and put something really good into this year for myself. Okay,
so you have the grand opening. You've been open since October 1st. The grand opening is this Wednesday. Who's invited?
Anybody can come. We've advertised it on Facebook, just with a Facebook event. I also sent out postcards to kind of my database of people that I know from business development, former clients, former associates. I really just want to bring people into our building in League City, show them our suite, get to know some of my staff members who are really amazing. My family's going to be there. I just want to kind of welcome everybody in. The Clear Lake Chamber is going to be doing a ribbon cutting because we're a member of the Clear Lake Chamber. So that'll be at 4. And then after that, anybody can come and go as they please. We will also have a raffle going on for a local nonprofit that I'm on the board for. It's the Bay Area Alliance for Youth and Families. So it's a wine basket raffle with some snacks and some really good wine glasses, and there will be a setup so people can buy tickets, and the firm will actually donate a ticket in the buyer's name if they buy a certain amount of tickets. So just trying to use the platform to help out as well.
Talking about the Alliance, the Bay Area Alliance for Youth and Families, why did you choose to be a part of that? Is that important to you?
Yeah, I think, honestly, so the late, great Chris Reed, I tried to kind of look at him, and I got to know him through the chamber and other organizations, and I saw the different organizations that he was involved in, and this was one of them. So got into it, did their fun run, started going to meetings, and the science and the studies are clear that when kids start doing drugs or drinking or using tobacco at a young age, it significantly impacts their lives. So the Alliance's mission kind of hit home with me, and it's a really great group of people who are motivated to help out kids in CCISD, and now we have a coalition in Friendswood ISD, I'm sorry. Okay,
so that's just a collaboration to work together with the Friendswood ISD?
That's right. So it's 2 community coalitions under the Alliance umbrella, and so, it's one with Friendswood and one with CCISD.
Okay, so that's this Wednesday. Everybody's invited to come out?
Yes.
And it just helps to know people in the lawyer world, because contracts are hard. It's a lot of reading.
It is a lot of reading. Law school was a lot of reading. So nowadays it's just, it's a lot more fun because I actually get to solve real world problems. So I'm thankful for law school for preparing me with all of the reading. But it's true. I think nowadays, depending on how the market looks and what sort of industry you're in, there's all sorts of contractual relationships that are formed. And just having that extra set of eyes, and especially someone who's willing to learn about your business and see things from your perspective, and I think that's really important. And so that's kind of what we're here to do, is just help out in any way we can for our clients.
What kind of trends have you been able to see, this year with COVID, everything going on? It seems like if I look outside, they're still constructing, like construction on the roads, and there's businesses still opening. Has that really been the case, or has it just been what I've seen?
No, I think you're absolutely right. There's still development going on. There's still new construction. I think what happened, or what I saw happen, was at the beginning of COVID, things really paused, and people were just waiting to see what was going to transpire in the next couple of months. And then as things became more normalized, the transactions started back up. And so, especially with interest rates being so low, I think you see a lot of refinancing going on, or new development, new buys with lending attached to it. But yeah, I was actually at a talk recently with Barbara Cutzinger from Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership. And we were talking about how there's all this new development going on, and you're seeing a lot of business parks and industrial buildings going up. So that stuff's still really hot, and real estate is still a good investment, no matter what.
Yes. So something else, I had the opportunity to run into you at the women's conference, right?
Yes.
How was your experience there?
I loved it, actually. So I really applaud the Galveston Chamber because, you know, the event was supposed to be earlier this year, and it was pushed and pushed, and then they had a lot of changes. And I signed up for it just, you know, out of my own personal interest in that sort of thing. And it turns out my stepmom signed up for it also. She's a professional woman, and so she gets continuing education for that sort of thing. So I luckily got to go with her, which was super fun because we've never been to anything business related together.
Yeah.
And I definitely look to her and my mom as far as like heroes in the business world. You know, I was taping receipts to pieces of paper for my stepmom's expense reports when I was 7 years old, you know? So
yeah.
I've always had that really cool influence of them. But the conference itself was really amazingly done. I felt very safe the whole time, and it was very inspirational. So we had a good time. There was a lot of dancing. I'm sure you saw that.
You know, I didn't.
You didn't get to see the dancing?
No, I didn't get to see the dancing. Who was dancing?
There was just we had our like 5-minute wake up sessions, and
Okay.
so in between speakers or whatever, they'd bring someone out, and everybody would get up and kind of just get the blood flowing. So it was a really good time, very entertaining and inspirational.
They kept me in the corner, like in the other room over there.
You had a job to do.
I did. I had a job to do, but
Yeah.
if I'd have known there was dancing, I would have at least, like, I don't dance.
Yeah.
I don't dance. So I probably just would have been like, hey, people are dancing, and then like ran back
You would have
to
been
my
the-
corner.
The guy in the corner bobbing his head.
Yeah. Oh, that's me.
That's you?
That's me. Or I would have been over by the Del Papa table with the Uptime energy drink that they ended
Oh.
up giving me the rest of because they didn't want to take it back to the truck. It was a win-win.
That's dangerous. You on that? That's dangerous. But I'm glad you like it so much. I didn't get a chance to try that, so maybe I'll get some of y'all's stash.
I have some. See, and I was going to text you before and say, do you want something to drink? I got energy drinks, coffee, water, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty
but
much
that
it.
hits all the basic groups.
That's all you need. That's what I
Yeah.
live off of too.
Yeah. I saw, yeah, so you have your coffee. What are you drinking this morning?
I have a latte from Starbucks. I get a soy latte from Starbucks. It's delicious.
Do you get any flavor in there? Is it just like coffee flavored?
A sweetener. So it's
Sweetener?
coffee flavored, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Christmas cup?
Yeah, that's the new Christmas cup. I feel like it's a little early. That's just my opinion. I
Yeah.
know that I don't want to get any haters because of that, but it's a little early for Christmas cup for me.
Show the camera. Let's see. I saw there's a bunch of funny videos, and it was like, oh, look, there's this on the cup because there's always drama surrounding the Christmas cup every year saying, oh, they added this or took this out. It's just red. It's funny.
People need to find something to do.
Yeah. Buy some land and invest or open a retail strip or something, right?
Yeah,
It's all kinds of things.
Come to my grand opening and meet lots of great people. That's what
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. So right now, it's 9:11. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy, hanging out with Emily Krone, Emily T. Krone Company. You know, it's open right now. Law firm. If you need some help, I like the word boutique. That was the description that you had came up with. So what does that mean to you?
Boutique law firms are really kind of seeing a rise. They have been the past few years, I believe. But, you know, the idea, especially in a market like Houston and Galveston, that's such a large market, it's kind of hard to be a generalist nowadays. In smaller towns, you'll have law firms that practice every area of law, you know, criminal law, family law. They'll look at your contracts. They'll help you set up new businesses. But, you know, in this market, it's better to kind of find a niche, I think. And that, again, that's just kind of my perspective. So our boutiqueness comes from the fact that we focus primarily on commercial real estate and business law. And our clients are small to medium-sized businesses and real estate developers who are kind of looking for that trusted guidance, but not someone who's going to stall a transaction or get overly theoretical in the analysis. You know, understand what the needs are, understand what the risks are, explain that to the client, and let them make a decision is kind of the way we practice law.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Whenever I want to learn something, you know, there's not like one teacher that teaches everything. You usually go to a specialist or even like a doctor because there's so many different things that you want somebody who this is what they do and they're the best, right?
100%. And even within real estate and business law, there's some things that I just am not an expert at that I would much rather see a potential client go to one of my friends who's an expert at that area of law. And so, for instance, I don't go to court. I'm a transactional attorney, and I think we've talked about this before, but I mostly help set up deals and run deals and go through due diligence and help a client kind of get to closing. Whereas other attorneys go to court, argue, they draft motions and argue motions. That is what they do, and that I am so happy that there are people out there that do that, because then I can focus on what I really love and am good at.
At any point, would you? Do you ever see a change in the future where you'd be like, I want to go to court now. Let's do this.
I think I would do it for the right, if I found some other niche that I was interested in, I think I would do it. I actually started out in litigation and defending insurance companies or their insureds. And so it just wasn't for me. I just felt like it was a little too, you're trying to destroy each other's argument as opposed to constructing something, that's beneficial to everybody, which is what I get out of my job now.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of like specialists and specializing in something, I met your friend the other day at Bravo Party Shop, Brittany Green, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she works, like, her specialty would be marketing and websites and social media, right?
That's right. Yeah, Brittany's amazing. So Brittany and I and Janet Cohn, we have a show on the Clear Lake Today podcast network, Through the Glass Ceiling. We haven't recorded recently with COVID, and then what I'm doing now, and Brittany's really busy, and Janet's up in another city now. It's been a little bit more difficult to coordinate, but Brittany's really great, and she focuses on the marketing aspect, social media, and small businesses in our community.
So Through the Glass Ceiling, the idea is bringing in these women, who are very knowledgeable and experts in their field, and just kind of talking about things going on in the world, or specifically interviewing other guests or talking to each other?
Yeah, so it started out by interviewing other guests, and we brought on, men and women alike, groups of men and women, groups of women, just talking about whatever the topic of the month was. And really, we tried to focus it on just kind of living this life of being a woman in business. And so that involves talking about specific business things like networking and marketing, or we would talk about, how do we balance having a kid and needing to go to work, or how do we balance, just feeling fulfilled, I guess, and making sure that everything in your life is balanced. So we talked about everything on that show, and I'm looking forward to recording more shows for sure.
How do you do that?
How do you balance it?
How do you balance that? How do you balance it?
You don't. I think, something we always talked about on the show is trying to be more intentional no matter where you are or what you're doing, so that, if I'm at work and I'm just concerned about not being there for my son, then I'm not doing good at work or being there for my son. Or if I'm with my family and I'm worried about work, then I'm not helping out either of those hemispheres of my life. So it's really about kind of being in the moment, being intentional, and planning, spending the time to kind of plan your day, plan your week. So those are kind of overarching themes I think we always got back to on that show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So here's another question. At what point did you know that you were going to be a lawyer, wanted to be? Because you mentioned being 7 years old and taping like receipts and stuff. I figure that's probably a good start to that.
I wanted to be in musical theater. I was in dance and I sang and I loved being on the stage. And it was basically when I went off to college, I kind of realized that I wanted to do something else. I actually wanted to do international law and solve the world's problems. And then I came back to Texas from Washington, D.C., where I went to undergrad and started in law school. I didn't even know real estate was going to be my thing. I enjoy the law. I think law school teaches you how to think a little differently as far as being more analytical and organizing your arguments or your presentation a little bit differently. So it was just through law school that I got into litigation and then found my way to real estate. So I don't know when the exact moment was I decided to be a lawyer, sometime in college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Growing up in theater, what were some of the productions that you had the opportunity to be involved with?
Oh, my goodness. So there was one, I remember one summer I was in 3 productions at one time. So I was in like quite a few, whether it was at school or there was a professional group out of Austin that I was in. But, oh, goodness. Let's see. Damn Yankees, Bye Bye Birdie, Charlie Brown, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, The Music Man, Oliver. I could go on and on. There's Jesus Christ Superstar. We did a lot of Christmas shows, so we did like medleys of Christmas songs. I know pretty much every Christmas song there is still, and the harmonies.
I was going to say like in 3 parts, 4 parts.
Exactly. So that was actually a really great upbringing. I really appreciated kind of the creativity it allowed me, and there was a lot of discipline and commitment that went into it too. But and also now I feel like I can kind of talk to anybody and maybe public speaking isn't really an issue for me now because of that. So there's a lot of transferable skills.
Yeah, I was talking to Janine Davison. She is at Galveston College, and so I went to Galveston College and I took a speech class, but I actually dropped out. That was like the year I dropped out. But I loved Galveston College, and the teacher at the time even called like my house phone. This was like 2004 or 5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents answered and was like, "Why? He was doing so good. Why did he drop out?" And they're like, "You dropped out? Why did you drop out?" And that always stuck with me, that the teacher at Galveston College cared so much to call my house phone and be like, he was doing great. He had like an A or a B or whatever it was.
Isn't it so great when you get a teacher who's like passionate about the kid, whoever they're teaching, and also the subject matter that they're teaching? I always felt like I did better in classes where I had a really passionate teacher like that who really cared a lot.
Yeah. And theater's cool. So I met my wife doing theater in high school.
Okay.
And I only did it so I could hang out with her. I was like, yeah, I guess I'll do it. But then I had a lot of fun. But I was nervous, and I wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But I had fun. So that's whenever I was like, just be goofy. I'm like, whatever, I don't care anymore. Then that's whenever they're like, you did great. That was your best performance yet. Whenever you just stopped caring.
Yes, 100%.
Start having fun with it.
Well, and what an amazing life lesson, too, for young adults who are already in this awkward phase in high school where they don't know who they are or they want to be like everybody else, to teach them to just let go on stage and just be free to be goofy or make mistakes or whatever. And then I feel like that can totally translate into their, how they think about things outside of the theater classroom. So it's a really good life lesson. I had kind of like a similar experience in high school. I remember one day just being like, I don't care what anybody thinks right now. Like, I'm just going to be silly. And it was a very freeing experience. So it comes and goes as life goes on. But
with the theater background and then starting in litigation, did you approach that as a performance and like prepare like that?
100%. Yeah. In law school too, there's different like competitive avenues you can go down. You can do moot court or mock trial. I definitely felt like every time I competed in that and every time I would go to court when I was doing litigation, it is a performance because you're trying to convey a message to a judge or a jury. And in order to do that, you truly have to believe what you're saying. And the only kind of acting that really has any worth or is good is when they truly believe, what they're saying and it's not fake at all. And so I think it definitely helped me a lot. And I definitely approached it that way.
Yeah.
And I still, even to this day, I don't go to court, but when I'm on a conference call with, some heavy hitters and I'm having to kind of lead the call or lead the transaction, I have to truly believe that I have the confidence and that I'm in control and that I've done enough preparation to represent my client the best possible way. And so even though I have 20 less years of experience than the other person on the phone, it seemed to work out so far. So the performance I'm putting on these conference calls is a good one. So.
Yes. Yeah. And I see somebody watch, so it's AJ, Hippie Fertilizing, right?
Oh, hey, AJ.
He's so passionate about what he does and what he is trying to do to the world and everything.
So true.
That it's like his passion. So whenever he speaks it, you believe it.
Yep.
And then that's not even like he's meaning it for marketing, but it is marketing. It's like, wow, that dude knows what he's talking about. That guy's passionate about it. And it's like his obligation to share this with the world, and that's what he's doing. He's changing it.
100%. I think it's a great way to, market his business. And I've actually used his services before on my own yard, and he lives like a stone's throw away from my house. We live in the same neighborhood. So I like AJ. Hey, AJ. But you're 100% right. I think when people are passionate and they really believe in what they're saying, you can't help but want to know more.
Yes. Here's another question. So they want to know, and this isn't what you're doing right now, but you may have some experience with it. They want to know if there's any advice for Zoom court. This year has been a treat. 2020 has been fun, right? So I guess that's been a treasure that's been handed down to us, making appearances with the judge or through the courtroom with Zoom.
I think that we're actually going to see a big benefit out of virtual hearings and the way that all of the court and mediation and all sorts of things have been pushed virtually in the legal industry, because there was a lot of efficiencies I think we were missing out on before that we can really embrace now that we've been forced to embrace them. But, I haven't gone to court virtually. I know a lot of people who have, but I have had to kind of conduct meetings, and we have a masterminds program in the chamber where I facilitate conversations with small business owners. And so, I'm having to keep people engaged, anywhere from 6 to 10 people engaged and part of conversation. I'm calling on them. Well, what did you think about that? And I think the biggest tip I would say that I've tried to really embrace, and haven't always been perfect at it, but I'm really trying to embrace it as my number one thing, is to be extremely focused on what we're talking about, not get distracted myself, and also be, and this isn't really a challenge for me, but be like overly animated.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're really going to get it across without being in person.
It comes back to the theater.
Yeah, I think so. Pretend like you're on a stage and you're performing to thousands of people, not just in a small theater in the round with 20 people around.
Yeah. Playing, so I grew up playing music and rock and roll music and at concerts, and whenever you're playing, you're like, oh man, I was jamming out. And then you go back and see the tape and you're just like tapping your foot barely. Yeah. And whenever someone goes and sees a band, it's an experience, and I remember that was a thing because we'd go back and watch tapes of ourselves and say, man, I thought I did this, and you didn't at all.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with theater, and it may be with trying to keep people engaged, you got to move around, and
it's so
Zoom's
true.
hard.
Well, it's very true, and especially in live performances, whether it's on the stage or on Zoom, I guess, you think you're overdoing it, but you're not. You're not, because that there is such a barrier, whether it's, thousands of seats that you have to project out to all of them, or whether it's, 20 people on a Zoom meeting who are all over the country or all over the state. So you definitely have to, we call it projecting in theater.
Yeah.
Project.
Yes. So with the Clear Lake Chamber and the classes and communication you've been doing online, has there been a learning curve for these businesses, and how are they doing operating through Zoom?
Our group is filled with a lot of really hardworking people who kind of run the spectrum of, either been in business for 20 plus years or just started a business a year ago. When I first started facilitating it, I hadn't started my venture yet. And so my job was really just to kind of facilitate those conversations and help kind of maybe find some overarching themes in what everybody was saying, and I would help plan topics. And we're still doing our talks monthly, but the businesses themselves, like I said, they're we have a lot of troopers in our group, and some of them have seen growth and some of them have really struggled, but they're still trying to find ways to adapt and grow and overcome whatever it is that they've had to deal with this year, just like they're going to have to do for the rest of their lives, right? As long as they're business owners, from what I've seen from these people and others, is you're constantly adapting and you're constantly trying to figure out, I have this problem. What can I do to fix it? Whether it's the coronavirus or anything else. So they've done okay, I think, on average. And like I said, they're just continuing to try and beat whatever it is and get over it. So
yes, right now it's 9:25. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM is Kickstart. My name is Gardy. We're talking to Emily T. Krone and Company, Wednesday, November 18th, 4 to 6:30. It's the grand opening. It's the ribbon cutting. It's going to be an exciting time, and everybody's invited, right?
That's right. Anybody can come. We're going to have food. We will have drinks, both adult beverages and non-adult beverages. The food's going to be catered by Opus over in South Shore Harbor, so really yummy food.
What kind of food is that? I've never been.
Opus, it's the steakhouse, right? And so they have the more seafood restaurant, Opus Ocean Grill, farther down Marina Bay Drive. And then this one is more of their steakhouse, but they do have seafood dishes. We're going to have some just hors d'oeuvres from them, and then we'll also have some desserts laid out for everybody.
What does Opus mean? Do you know?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Wasn't there that movie?
Well, I think Opus, someone can correct me on Facebook, but I think Opus.
Oh, they will.
I know, right? An Opus, yeah. I know exactly where it was. Richard Dreyfuss was in that movie, wasn't he? Mr. Hollands Opus.
Mr. Hollands Opus, yeah.
I think it's like your masterpiece, perhaps, right. But I don't know. I really don't know.
It reminds me of Octopus, and I was like, okay, seafood, that makes sense. But I was like, Mr. Hollands Opus, that was like, yeah, his grand work. Yeah, this is my opus.
There was literally nothing about seafood in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there wasn't. There definitely wasn't.
Yeah, it was his masterpiece, I think. I think that's what it is.
Mr. Holland's Opus will be Wednesday at Emily T. Krone.
Yeah.
there will be food and music and a good time.
That's right.
A good time, yes. And the Bay Area Alliance raffle will be going on as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
Oh, just happy to be here. Thanks again for having me. It's always fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday. It's going to be quite a party. It'll actually be in the lobby of our building because we just wanted more space so that everybody can kind of spread out and hopefully accommodate the good friends and family that are going to join us.
What's the goal that you have even for like a year from now and into the future?
Oh goodness. Well, my long-term goal is to really establish my practice here in Northern Galveston County as kind of like the premier place to go to for your one-stop shop in real estate transactions, especially with the kind of knowledge and relationships our firm has and is continuing to grow with like local governments and local vendors and things like that. I would love to own my own building one day and operate out of my own building, especially just having a passion for real estate. I think that's something I'm interested in doing one day. But as far as the next year, if I could be exactly where I am a year from now, I would be happy to. I mean, it's already been really great so far. I have really good help. I have a college student who's a marketing major working for me. Her name's Brianna, and she is really a very special person. And hopefully I have like 3 Briannas in a year, and it's been fun kind of coaching her and learning from her. I learn from her every day. And so just growing the practice that way and just continuing to get better at what we do, making more relationships with local businesses.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
That would be like the, Emily T. Krone and Company is like your real estate TikTok advisor. I could see it now. Ask Brianna. She knows. I don't know anything about TikTok, but I feel like
she's a marketing major, so yeah. I'll ask her about it. I'll see what she thinks. I'll let you know what she says.
Okay, and I'll get a TikTok just to watch yours.
Oh, see, you don't even have TikTok.
No, I don't.
Okay,
but Brianna would. I feel like marketing majors. It's like a whole new thing. I don't know.
I'll ask her. I don't know if she has TikTok. I'll ask her though.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out today. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, Facebook, again, feel free to share this out. If you have any questions, you can contact Emily as well. And I'm going to go back and make sure that I tag the business so that way you can find out more information about the event and show up, right?
Yes, absolutely. Please show up. Please come eat. Come have some drinks. Tour our office. Yes, some octopus.
Octopus.
There will not be octopus. Don't worry, people.
Have you ever had octopus?
Yeah, of course.
It's delicious.
It is good. I don't mind it at all, but I feel like most people don't agree with that.
Really?
They don't feel the same way.
I like trying weird. If it sounds weird, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try it at least one time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My son actually likes calamari because I just tell him it's chicken nuggets. I'm like, aren't those chicken nuggets good? He goes,
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's what we did with fish.
Yeah,
I think with my little ones too. Just like, it's fish, it's fried. It's like, oh, nuggets, whatever. It's good. Yeah.
Oh, kids.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
They don't even know.
They have no idea.
All right.